Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever just stopped right in the middle of a sentence because you weren't sure if you were using the right word? Yeah, we've all been there. So today, we are going to tackle 5 pairs of English words that are just notoriously confusing. Let's get these cleared up for good.
And here's the really reassuring part. It's not just you. Seriously. As this quote points out, even native speakers get these words mixed up all the time. Some of them are so similar that we kind of just use them interchangeably without even thinking about it. So you are in very, very good company.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with formal versus casual questions. Then we'll dig into the difference between certainty, belief, and hope. After that, we'll figure out the difference between a short stay and a long haul, tackle the fine art of putting things off, and finally, we'll explore how we go about searching our own minds. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, we've got a classic mix-up, especially between the US and the UK. Inquiry versus inquiry. Now, they both mean asking a question, right? But how you use them, well, it really depends on where you are and just how formal the situation is. So let's break this down. In the United States, things are pretty simple. You use inquiry with an I for basically everything, from a huge formal investigation to just asking someone for directions. But hop over to the UK and they get a bit more specific. An inquiry with an I is saved for those really serious formal investigations. For just a casual everyday question, they'll use enquiry with an E. So the big takeaway here is it's all about context and location. All right, from the formalities of asking questions, let's move on to the precision of saying what we think we know. These 3 words, know, believe, and faith, we often toss them around like they're the same thing, but they actually represent totally different levels of certainty. Getting this right can completely change what you're trying to say.
This table just lays it out so perfectly. To know something, you need facts. You need verifiable proof. To believe something, well, that's based more on your personal experience. The evidence is limited, maybe even just subjective. And to have faith, that's operating purely on hope, without any direct evidence at all. It's the difference between knowing gravity is real, believing your favorite team has a shot at winning, and having faith that things will work out in the future.
Okay, now here's a pair that trips up so many people, even in movies and on TV. Jail versus prison. I mean, they sound pretty similar, and yeah, they're both places you definitely don't want to be, but they serve completely different purposes in the justice system.
So, just imagine you get that phone call you never want to get. The first thing you're probably thinking is, where are they? And maybe more importantly, for how long? The entire answer really comes down to just one of these simple words.
So here is the absolute core difference. Jail is for short-term stays. It's run by a local city or county, usually for smaller offenses. Think of it as kind of a temporary holding place. Prison, though, that's the big league. We're talking long-term sentences for serious crimes, and it's run by the state or federal government.
Now, here's a fantastic little trick to remember this. For jail, think of the J as standing for just now. It's temporary. You might be there for a night, maybe a couple of weeks waiting for a trial, or serving a sentence for something really minor. The point is, it's not meant to be permanent. And then, for prison, think of the P as standing for permanent, or, at least a whole lot more permanent. This is where you go after you've been convicted of a serious crime to serve a sentence of a year or more. So you see the difference? If your friend calls from jail, you ask about bail. If they call from prison, well, that's a much longer conversation. Okay, moving on to our 4th pair. And this one might hit a little close to home for a lot of us. Procrastinate versus lazy. When somebody's not getting their work done, what's really going on? The difference is all about one thing: intention. And here it is, the key distinction. When you procrastinate, you fully 100% intend to do the work. You're just pushing it off for a little bit. Laziness, on the other hand, is just a general dislike of doing work. A lazy person has no intention of doing the task. Not now, not later. So you see, one is a timing problem, the other is a motivation problem. So let's be real. If you're watching this explainer right this second instead of doing your laundry or your taxes or those dishes piling up in the sink, you're procrastinating. You know you have to do those things, and you're gonna do them, eventually. See, you're not lazy. You just decided to learn something new first, and for that, we approve. And finally, let's dive into our own minds and how we access memories. We use remember and recall as if they're the same thing all the time, but they actually describe 2 very different mental processes. One is totally passive and automatic, and the other is active and actually takes some effort.
To remember something is passive. It's like a light bulb just flicks on. The memory just pops into your head without you even trying. Think about your own name or your mom's phone number. You don't have to go searching for it. It's just there. It's an automatic thing.
Recall, however, is an active process. You have to consciously go into your mental filing cabinet and search for the information. It's exactly why a lawyer will ask a witness on the stand, "Can you recall the events of that night?" They're asking them to actively dig through their memories and pull out a specific detail. It actually takes work.
So let's do a super quick run-through of your new and improved language toolkit. An inquiry is formal. To know something, you need proof. Jail is for just now. To procrastinate means you're still going to do it. And to remember is automatic. Getting these simple differences down is going to make a world of difference in how you communicate.
And that brings us to the end. So, now that you know these distinctions, just think about it for a second. Which one of these word pairs is going to most change how you express yourself, or maybe even how you understand other people? The real power of language is in its precision, and now you have 5 more tools to use it perfectly. Thanks so much for joining us.